Good evening, everyone. I call the City Council meeting for Wednesday, October 11th to order. So our hearts go out to the people of Israel. Due to the terrible terrorist attacks on Israel, we pray for peace and pray for all the families affected by this evil act. So at this time, we'll have a moment of silence to think about all those people that are terribly affected. Thank you. If you'd all please stand and join Alderman Grip in leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Alderman Grip. Mr. Krupp, please call the roll for tonight.
Dunn.
Here.
Kelly.
Here.
McGinnis.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Grip.
Here.
Condon.
Here.
Dickman. Jobson.
Here.
And Ortez.
Here.
8 present, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. So again, good evening and welcome. As we begin the meeting of the City Council, I'd like to welcome everybody in attendance, anybody who's viewing through any particular electronic device. We respectfully welcome your opinions and comments, but please keep in mind that as you share your thoughts, you're sharing them with your fellow Davenporters and anybody throughout the region. We're happy you're participating in your city government and ask that your participation please reflect the common desire we all share to make Davenport a better place. For everyone in here, if you'd please put your phone on silent or turn it off simply that it doesn't get in the way of anybody talking. If you want to address the council, please come up to the podium. The microphone's above you. We'd love to know your name, order, and address, and if you're not from here, we'd love to know where you're from. Please address the council as a body and not as any individual. We want to hear from everyone, so you'll be asked to leave if you disrupt the meeting. So please let us hear from everyone that's speaking. You'll be asked to keep your remarks to 5 minutes. Please be respectful of us. We'll be respectful of you. Thank you. Will an alderman move approval of the City Council meeting minutes for September 27, 2023?
Second.
So motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. City Administrator Spiegel, any update tonight?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Okay. Will an alderman move approval of the report of the Committee of the Whole for October 4th, 2023?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Next is petitions and communications from anyone. Anyone, please. Alderman Jobson.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. We'll have next ward meeting on Tuesday, October 17th, 6:30 p.m., Duck Creek Park Lodge. We're grateful to have our Fire Marshal, Chief Morris, there to present on some of their safety initiatives and the things that they're doing. And so hopefully people can attend. Look to see you there. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Jobson. Alderwoman Lee.
Thank you very much. I'd also like to remember the people of Ukraine. It's still a horror show over there as well. So I was going to speak last week, and I was surprised by the new information. So I'm still going to say a little bit, and this is all I'm going to say. With the primary behind us, we'd all like things to quiet down, including myself, about the issue of the alleged ignorant and horrendous racial statements that have no place in 2023 America. I believe Alderman Kelly's allegations, and I see no reason for him to create unnecessary controversy if this didn't happen. After all, he's running unopposed and has nothing to gain. We cannot ignore that an alderman has recently sued him for defamation, insisting on a drawn-out jury trial and money damages, and that the mayor has created a task force instead of just doing an investigation internally, made up of citizens to investigate what happened. I believe that both these actions drag too many members of the public unnecessarily into this issue, probably over 25 to 30 between a jury and the task force, and it will take, a needlessly long time while creating controversy, conflict, high costs, and pain. I believe it would have been appropriate for the mayor to insist that the 4 aldermen involved hold themselves accountable and take responsibility. As the Quad City Times says in its exasperated editorial, there's no place in City Hall for racism. We expect our elected officials to lead with a message of inclusion and understanding. Kelly's allegations are serious, and people deserve to know what happened and should expect a swift and sure resolution. It's not complicated. There were witnesses. And Mr. Ortiz, you state publicly your priority as alderman is to have a code of ethics for council so that problems can be taken care of sooner rather than later. I agree. And I ask, would a jury trial requesting monetary damages actually accomplish that? I believe that we need to clear the issue up, move on, and vow to never have anything like this happen in Davenport city government again. And now, something that Davenport has done super well. Could you please put up the picture, Brian? I attended this, the little pop-up concert at noon. The Martin Luther King Center hosted a wonderful concert last Wednesday noon featuring 2 violinists from our superb Quad City Symphony Orchestra, Emily Nash and Janice Sakai, who you can see in the left picture. And it's also featured a visiting cellist, Tommy Mesa, who you can see on the right picture. Mr. Mesa is such an excellent cellist that he received a standing ovation and played it encore at the symphony concert at the Adler Saturday night. The music at the Martin Luther King Center was both moving and fun. He used his cello actually as a percussion instrument as well. And seeing the artist play in front of this amazing mural depicting the history of the civil rights movement in America was very powerful. The center is beautiful, it's well designed, and the acoustics inside were excellent. Even the maestro commented on that to me. He was surprised at how wonderful the acoustics were. I look forward to many more events at the Martin Luther King Center, and perhaps these 2 photos can provide a healing moment for us all. It's quite a spectacular mural and tells an amazing story. And then, last but not least, the joint 7th and 8th Ward meeting will be held tomorrow at the Eastern Library at 6 p.m. Brian Ritter, the executive director at Nahant Marsh, will share his plans and recent activities and future for the marsh. And we'll also talk about ward and city issues such as the 3rd and 4th Street conversions. So I hope everyone is welcome to the ward meetings. Again, it's at the Eastern Library tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Grip.
Thank you, Your Honor. I also had planned to speak about the opening of the Martin Luther King Jr. Park and also the concert that was there, but Judith did such a nice job that I'll move on to the second item I have, which is yesterday the band spectacular for the Davenport Community School District was really well attended by us all, several aldermen there, a lot of community leaders. The entire west side of Brady Street Stadium was full to the point that they had to open up the east side of the stadium, which they don't typically do for the band spectacular. And one of the reasons was the Lincoln University band that came in, a historically black college. That's the longest standing black college with a marching band, 1885, came in to play along with all of our high schools and all of our junior highs. We had over 700 combined high schoolers and junior high band members on the field last night playing to a packed Brady Street Stadium, and it was awesome to see. And then the Lincoln University band did an incredible job. Man, they brought passion and energy and just put on a really good show and inspired everyone in the crowd. And I know that a number of us on the council, the city of Davenport was one of the sponsors of the event through beautification dollars. So I just want to share with anybody who was one of those who shared their beautification dollars. It was money well spent. It was an awesome event that we need to highlight the music program that we have in the Davenport Community School District. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Alderman Condon.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, I suppose I'm going to also speak to the issue of the racial slur that we're all dealing with. I don't have anything prepared, so I'll be forced to speak plainly. And that can feel perilous from the dais. But my frustration is that's kind of the problem. And I'll do my best, and I hope folks don't necessarily come after me for this. But I'm not running for re-election. I don't think I have anything to gain either. I was in the room on the night in question, and I was out of town when all of this came to pass, and I since came home and got all caught up. No one has personally asked me for my account of what happened in that room, except for the Quad City Times, which that might be the only place that feels more perilous to speak to than from the dais. My point is, we're not talking to each other. And if anybody would like to know what happened, I don't think I have any trouble sharing with it, with the exception of not knowing how contentious this all becomes when you get lawyers involved. But it's really, really easy to pull people apart. It's a lot more work to bring people together. And yet, I think we have people all around us that are entirely capable of bringing us together and making this a teachable moment. And I don't say that to diminish anything that was said, but we live in America. This is a country that deals with race every day. And it's a lot of work. And we need to start the discussion. I don't think it's even begun yet. And I think this is something we can heal from. And I think you can apply that to many items at the city that we're dealing with right now. So it's not that big of a town. Let's see what we can do to come together. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. We'll move on to individual items, approval items on the discussion agenda. The first one is a resolution approving and authorizing the use of condemnation and commencement of condemnation proceedings, if necessary, for rights-of-way and easements associated with the Goose Creek Trail Phase 3 project. Is there any public with comment? Seeing none, will an alderman move the resolution? So moved. Second. Okay, any discussion from alder folks? Seeing none, Brian, call the roll, please, on this resolution.
Dunn,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Condon,
Yes.
Grip,
Yes.
Jobson, McGinnis,
Yes.
Dickman,
yes,
Ortez,
Yes.
and Lee.
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Very good, the resolution passes. The next item is a resolution authorizing the chief financial officer to make the appropriate interfund transfers for the city's FY 2023 financial records as required by the Iowa Administrative Code, City Finance Committee Agency, Chapter 2. Is there any public with comment? Seeing none, will an alderman move the resolution? Motion and a second. Any discussion from alder folks? Seeing none, Brian, please call the roll.
Dickman,
yes,
Lee,
Yes.
Ortez,
Yes.
Grip,
Yes.
Jobson,
Yes.
Condon,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
and Kelly.
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Very good, the resolution passes. Item 3, resolution adopting the FY 2025 budget policies. Is there any public with comment? Again, state your name, order, address. If you're not from here, we'd love to know where you are. You'll have 5
Hi,
minutes.
my name is Gary Eklund, and I live in Alderman Kelly's ward. You guys kind of want to rule me out of order when I think this is the same one I was addressing, and I'll just be brief. I think the priorities are skewed. I think the money flows to people with money. I know I'm trying to buy a house. The city charges me $500 to $1,000 a year extra, and what I consider to be poor people's extra property tax, where they explain to me that when a poor person buys a house and they buy the cheapest house they can find, they figure if you bought a house from a professional real estate company at a low price, it's not because it deserves to be at a low price. It should be valued at 2 or 3 or 4 times as much, because that's what wealthier people are paying for houses that are in better shape and better condition. So every year since I've been where I'm at, I've paid $500, at least $500 a year more in property taxes than I would have paid if I'd paid for the actual house that I'm paying for. And I bought it from a professional real estate company who is out to maximize profit. And I probably could have bought it for a couple $1,000s less if I'd been able to make a regular mortgage offer. I tried to protest they're gonna raise my extra poor person's tax from about $500 a year to about $1,000 a year. And on top of what I should pay for the house that I'm buying, I'm gonna be paying like $1,000 extra for a house that had an illegal dump on it, which the city has refused to help me with. People had dumped carpets, carpet backing, drywall, insulation, nails, screws, and tons of coal dust, which I'm told contains lead, arsenic, and mercury. The people who in the city who are supposed to help with that have made it clear that I am not the sort of person who they want to help, and they have done nothing, even though we know who did it. They're the people who live next door. So anyway, I'm paying, I attempted to appeal my property tax raise for next year, and following the city's legal department advice, apparently I received the notice of my hearing. I told them that I was a full-time near minimum wage worker and I'd have to take unpaid time off, and could I have some advance notice and maybe get it on a particular day. And my notice of my property tax hearing arrived after the hearing date for my property tax appeal. You know, sort of like you get a letter in the mail today and it says 2 days ago was your hearing and you should have been there at precisely 9 a.m. and you can't be there. So the gist of this is I think the city penalizes the poor, figures they don't pay enough. You know, if you try to buy a $25,000 house, they figure you should pay taxes on a $50,000 or $75,000 or $100,000 house because, you know, if another house with built-in this and that and this and that luxury stuff and this and that new this and then this and that new that, but they both have 2 bedrooms and they both have a bathroom and they both have a kitchen and they're about the same size, well, the person who's buying a $25,000 house should pay as much as a person with a $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 house, even though the free market sold the cheaper house at a cheaper price because it needed some work. Fixer-upper, that's why you buy a fixer-upper. Anyway, across the board, I think the city's priorities are wrong. I think there's a screw you attitude towards people who work at minimum wage, people who, I mentioned my record work week when I used to do a different job. I once worked 96 3/4 hours in 1 week, which is 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Among my other jobs was feeding people who couldn't feed themselves, lifting people who were incontinent, and when I worked 5 16-hour days and 2 8-hour days plus an extra 3/4 of an hour, which doesn't leave you a whole lot of time for sleep. You have to be at work at 6 a.m. and you get off at 10 p.m. And while doing that, because the wages are so low, I probably made half of what you guys all made your first year out of college. And there's a reason why I just read that people without college degrees, sorry? Yeah, I'm talking about budget policies. I will get there, okay. Okay, we'll move to budget policies. I think the budget policies of the cities unfairly favor the wealthy people and not unfairly favor just people who work in nursing homes cleaning incontinent people up. They're considered inferior. I've had the city staff tell me for years that I'm an inferior person in an inferior neighborhood surrounded by inferior black tenants. And I think that's a misappropriation of funds to pay people who have an attitude about people who work more hours than they do. And yet there's this astounding thing where people who have paid vacations, paid sick days, paid holidays, paid vacations, socialized health care for them, maternity leave, paternity leave, this and that, generous pensions, they can look at people who work more hours than they do and call them lazy and stupid and think they deserve to be poor and they deserve to pay more than their fair share. You know, our priorities are wrong.
Sorry. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none? Will an alderman move the resolution? Motion second. Any discussion from alder folks? Alderwoman Lee.
I asked this to be put on discussion because I did not have time to look at it until this week, and I wanted to make sure I understood it because it's going to drive what we're going to be doing for the next 2 years. I had the opportunity to talk with Director Merritt, and I feel my questions are answered, and I'm fine, so I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, Brian, please call the roll.
Jobson?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes?
Condon?
Yes.
Dickman?
Yes.
Grip?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Ortez?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Very good. The resolution is adopted. Next motion is approving a beer and liquor license, annual license renewal, Yoshi's Bar and Filipino Canteen, 831 West 3rd Street, outdoor area, license type C. Is there any public with comment? Before I go to public with comment, though, I'm going to call up staff. I think you have a comment to make or a briefing to show. So we'll do that first. And I'd ask everybody's indulgence to watch and listen to the briefing. Thank you.
I will start by answering the 3 specific questions I received from council regarding the occupancy loads, the definition of an outdoor service area, and the breakdown of police calls by the bar versus neighbors. Regarding the question of occupancy load, the occupancy load of 90 is only for the indoor area. Outdoor service areas do not increase occupancy capacity for the building. Outside occupant loads vary depending on the use and layout of the space, including the number of exits. Owners are encouraged to consider that people outdoors will inevitably come indoors to use the restroom, escape the heat, cold, or rain, and refill their drinks. Owners must take into account this potential for increase in the number of people inside, and the number of people outdoors should be maintained in such a way as to prevent overcapacity inside. When an applicant seeks to have a licensed premises under the Iowa alcoholic beverages laws, they must submit a map of what they consider the licensed premises in which alcohol will be sold or consumed pursuant to their license. On the right is a map provided by Yoshi's Bar with their application. I have added the coloring. The blue is the area currently covered by an outdoor service privilege. The yellow is the remaining area covered by the Class C on-premises license. We also have an aerial photograph on the left to give perspective of where this is located. The outdoor service area is part of the licensed premises because the local authority, the Davenport City Council, has approved of the outdoor area. If you deny the outdoor service privilege, the licensed premises would become just the indoor area, the yellow area. If there is no outdoor service privilege, no sales of alcohol would be allowed outside in the blue area, and patrons would not be able to order a drink at the bar and then carry their glass out onto the deck. Patrons could come and go onto the deck, but their cups would need to stay inside. The chart in yellow shows the number of calls for service in the past year, and the chart in green shows the number for the 2-month period between August 1st and September 29th, 2023. These numbers do not include extra patrols. You can see that in the 2-month period, there were 43 calls for service. Only 9 of those were from staff of the bar, and 26 of them were from third parties calling in. This chart shows calls for service in the past year, and then also that same 2-month period. In the past year, there were 55 calls for service that were not extra patrols, and 43 of those were in the recent 2-month period. The calls for service in this recent time period far exceed the number for other bars. Importantly, these calls for service on both charts, this slide and the previous slide, are based solely on the address being provided as 831 West 3rd Street. If an address is called in as 3rd and Warren or the 800 block of West 3rd Street, they do not appear on these 2 spreadsheets, even if they are directly related to the bar. Staff's recommendation of denial of the outdoor service area is the least restrictive means available in this instance. The bar has met the criteria to be declared a public safety nuisance under Iowa Code and a problem area nuisance under Davenport Municipal Code. If we had filed a public safety nuisance suit, the bar would be closed at 10 p.m. during the pendency of the lawsuit. There is no lifting that early closure time absent an order of the court. We also could have declared Yoshi's Bar a problem area nuisance pursuant to the Davenport Municipal Code, and then would be charging Yoshi's Bar for police responses for founded calls related to nuisance activity within 1,500 feet of his property. Licensing restriction is the least restrictive means. Your legal department and your police department have reviewed this bar's calls for service and have provided a recommendation based on their experience and knowledge. The bar's license will be up for renewal in early April, and he can reapply for the outdoor service privilege at that point. Thank you.
Okay. Any public with comment? Please remember name, order, address, and you'll have 5 minutes. Thank you.
My name is Yoshika Haddon from 3rd Ward. And I come to you today, not just as a citizen, veteran, and business owner, but as a representative of the community that is trying to inspire impoverished youth of this great city. I am here to prove that if you're Black, a minority, or someone who grew up poor, that you do not need to be a performer, be it an athlete, artist, rapper, or otherwise, to be successful while simultaneously embracing your culture. I come to you dressed as a professional and as someone who comes from a culture of baggy ripped jeans, oversized t-shirts, snapback ball caps, and designer sneakers. I come to you today not to defend an outdoor service area permit or even to defend a liquor license. I come to you today to defend the Constitution and the civil liberties afforded by it, and to defend the freedom and American dream this country is known worldwide to represent. I come to you as just a man who alone compiled all this evidence and stood his ground without the assistance of lawyers, politicians, or millionaires. I come to you as an individual who has been wronged by the government already once before, who falsely incarcerated me back in 2017 for 2 capital murder charges where I lost a year of my life behind bars, and have been fighting to overcome that stigma that has followed ever since. I come to you today to serve as an example to everyone, not just in this city, but in cities around the country, that it is our civil duty to fight against an oppressive and corrupt government regardless of consequence. I knew very well the danger and risk I put not only my businesses, but myself in when I chose to stand up and fight against this injustice. When you oppose the government, the rules change as you go. You must choose objective points and contradict it with objective data. Opinions, even if shared by several, matter little in the eyes of a powerful opposition like a government body that changes the rules, laws, and evidence to fit their agenda and support their narrative. This is a battle that has to be fought in a manner that leaves no room for doubt, no room for error, and no room for subjectiveness. This is why I used words, phrases, and talking points, and the ambiguous instruction and expectations spoken and set by the Davenport City Assistant City Attorney, the Davenport Police Chief, Police Captain, and the 3rd Ward Alderman themselves, and contradicted nearly every negative statement with indisputable evidence to include subpoenaed crime statistics, police body cam footage, my bar's own surveillance system, and recorded audio where these individuals were unaware they were being recorded. I presented and disseminated this information via social media to ensure the content of my message was not skewed, altered, or misdirected by the mainstream news stations, who have proven time and time again to favor the local government they are advantaged to protect. Then and only then was I afforded this opportunity that I have before you today to defend myself, when this is actually an inalienable right given to us via the 7th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, a document this country was built on, that men and women, sons and daughters, brothers and sisters have fought and died to protect. This should never be a burden anyone after me should ever have to undergo to be afforded an audience where they can be heard and be given an opportunity to address any allegations a government entity or any of its representatives bring before them. Nor should it be expected for them to do so within a time limit of 5 minutes at the direction and subjection of anyone other than a judge or court of law. I made this promise once before, and I'll make it again. I, Yoshika Haddon, come to you to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of every single American citizen. So help me God.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mike Gustus, 7th Ward, President, NAACP. The PowerPoint that the legal department put on was very nice. However, I don't see anything that was in the PowerPoint that indicates or that show a plan that the owner presented to them to correct these here improprieties. So if you're going to show the problem, why not show his plan to correct it? I mean, that should be up there. You got 1 month, maybe 2 at best left for outdoors services here in Iowa, period. Why not give him a chance? A black man trying to do his best. I heard the gentleman last week talk about 1.2% of his business. 1.2% may not be a lot to somebody, but it's a lot to him. So I recommend that the gentleman be able to keep his license. This is a good opportunity for the city to start the healing process, because I got a lot more to say about some other things. But for the legal department to come up here and show this nice chart of everything that went wrong and not show his plan doesn't cut the mustard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. Will an alderman move the resolution or the motion? Okay, I'll hold. If anybody else, I'll give you your time, ma'am. Anybody else wants to speak, if you could stand so I see you, so I don't think, okay, please continue.
My name is Erica. I come before the council as an employee of Yoshi's Bar and Filipino Canteen. I have been employed there for a while, but before that, I was a loyal customer. I do admit it was the food that brought me in, and definitely the food that brought me back. But what really brought me back was the people. And by the people, I mean the employees, the owner, and the regular customers that I would come into contact every time I came in the building. Ever since the time of my employment, I have found a support system and a family. This bar is family-oriented. My family and many other families enjoy Yoshi's Bar, food, drinks, and entertaining staff. I feel he has done a good job restoring the place, and it is not an eyesore anymore. The fact that this bar is called a nuisance is flabbergasting to me after years of previous bars actually being an eyesore and a nuisance, along with other establishments in the surrounding area. I have worked for several bars around the QC area. I am proud to say Yoshi's is one that I felt the most respected, protected, and safe at, whether I was on shift or off shift at the time. Our team and staff has worked diligently to resolve alleged city issues and done everything asked with great progress, in my personal opinion. I ask the council today, please don't punish our team or our establishment, as we've worked hard and are still working very hard to make Yoshi's a safe and fun environment for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Diane Salmon, 8th Ward. I said last time that I'm not somebody who drinks, so I don't go there. But I sit here every week and hear people say, let's talk, let's start healing. Has anybody gone down there since this all started to see what the atmosphere is like, to sit down with him and his staff? Or do we just get to see the one-sided PowerPoint of the city and not get to see what truly goes on there? This man has spent hours upon hours bringing everything together to try to show you guys what it looks like. And I believe we all want the same thing. We want a safe city, but we have other areas, our city's not so safe, but we're not real quick to shut that down. So please give them another chance.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good afternoon. I'm Julia Haddon. I'm the chef of Yoshi Bar, Filipino Canteen, and I'm the mother of Yoshiko-san Haddon, who was born and raised at 10th and Warren, 9 blocks away from our business. When we got there, we had thick bushes that collect garbage in the neighborhood. And we cleared that up. Me and my son want this place to be be proud to be clean. I'm sorry for my accent. I hope you understand me. But we're trying to make this place clean. So we will, right now, we are a pride of Davenport. We are getting customer from West Bend, Iowa, Skokie, Kankakee, Illinois. 6 days ago, we have 15 group of people from Catholic ministry who came from all the way from Skokie, Illinois to come to our place because they said our place is safe to dine in and for a group of people. That's it. I'm not okay. I'm kind of shy, sorry. Hope you understand me.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Katie Stewart, 8th Ward. I know at least one person on this council has been down there. Okay, so I really hope that they could have gotten a drink and had some of the lumpé or listened to the music and seen the atmosphere. I absolutely love the fact that it's a family oriented. I see his mom down there every time and she gives me a hug, and I've just more recently have been able to get to know this family, and it's a great establishment. Fact is, you take this away, when will it stop? What next will you pick with this young man's business? We've seen it from time with other things. People are gonna drink, people act stupid, they do at other bars too. If you do that, they're gonna go somewhere else. You know, or they'll be more in the streets and causing more mayhem for neighbors, people in people's homes and corners and all that. So shutting places down, you're just not eliminating the problem, you're just putting it somewhere else. And I piggyback what the gentleman said. We've seen the issues, but let's see his issue. He has a wonderful PowerPoint. You know, the live is still up on Facebook. You can, check that out, where he did so much work on that booklet and the live and the PowerPoints and all that it's like it's being shut down, but he did so much work and he has every right to have that be shown to everybody. I think, he has a very passion for his business. If that is not seen up here, I don't know what can do. I've seen him with his daughter. I've seen him with his family, the passion he has for all of his businesses. Let's let him grow. He deserves that. The people deserve that. It's a family-oriented place. I've been to many bars. I'm 42 years old. I've been to the Hawk. I've been to, I've been to a lot of different places, but I've never felt home. But when I went to Yoshi's, I felt that from the staff. Instantly when I walked in. It wasn't sneered at, wasn't commented at. I wasn't, I didn't feel like I was just, not, part of being in there. And that's why a lot of the customers come back and keep coming back. And then you add the food on top of it, it's phenomenal. The lampé, it's fire. And the cocktails are just really, really good drinks. I recommend maybe have sex on the beach. And I'm talking about the drink, but the real thing sounds pretty good too, but But no, all seriousness, give this guy a shot. I really think that Yoshi, I think his staff, his mom, Erica, the other people that work here are willing to put, heck, I'll stand and do something there to help. Whatever we have to help him keep his license and go. A couple months where it's gonna be cold and stuff, we can work on it more to what we need to do to make it when it starts getting uncold and people start going outdoors, what we can do to be ready for it, the weather instead of taking it away and then having to come down here and fight to get it back, because I think that we're gonna have a harder time getting it back. That's just the reality. It's gonna be a fight and a battle. We're at a fight and battle just to keep it. What kind of hoops and what, is gonna be to get it back? I don't think it's gonna be so easy as some on this council think. I think there's some people just don't want even that. So how easy is it gonna get that back? I don't think it's just gonna be it's gonna be more of an uphill battle. So let's, come back to the drawing board and get the citizens involved and, workers, and let's solve the problem. And make it to where when it becomes nice again, we don't have these calls, we don't have the issues. We've been able to deal with it. And at that point, things don't, then you deal with it. But give this man a chance. His family a chance, his daughter, his mom. They put so much work into that place, just like they said about the trees and the bushes and all that. That's their pride. That's their pride, and that's their livelihood. You're taking one point, to me, that's a whole lot. For you, it may not be very much of a money crunch. It may be nothing, to the President of the United States, it's really nothing.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Michelle Vaughn Lynch, 7th Ward. I just wanted to say that I've been to Yoshi's a few times. The atmosphere is inviting. I went down there originally to talk to Yoshi about Airbnbs. We both own Airbnbs, and I don't know many people that do, and I'd never heard of Yoshi before, and he also had Filipino food, and that was exciting for me. We don't have a lot of really good Asian food in the Quad Cities. And since I've been down there, I've had a chance to get to know Yoshi on a business level. What I've learned about him is he's smart and driven, and if there's a problem, which clearly there is, we see that, he'll address it. He'll do whatever it takes to fix it, because he's passionate about this, and the community is strong down there. I would have to say, give him a chance. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just Moss, just a good friend. But I was here last week and spoke to you guys on the behalf of Yoshi's Filipino Bar and Canteen. So since then, I've been able to have some extra downtime, and I've been able to get out and about. I visited his location probably about 4 times this week for various reasons. Some personal, some registration stuff. But in the end, it was always good food, good people, and hospitality is phenomenal. But I promised I would behave and keep some of my comments to myself tonight. But I just want you guys to know you guys really need to rethink this. I understand it's not taking his license, but you want to deny the outdoor permit. And I know someone's going to probably clarify that later when the alderman speaks, so I'm just going to clarify that now. But you guys really need to think and give this man a chance, because he is actually willing to work with you. And so am I, especially for this establishment.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is LaShawna Dixon, and I belong to the 5th Ward. I was just coming up here to state a concern with the city's presentation. It states that patrons will not be able to go outside and talk with their drinks, smoke a cigarette with their drinks, and that raises concern for me. If someone has a drink and they run to the bathroom, or their friend runs outside and they leave their drink there, it is very possible that somebody may slip something into somebody's drink, and that is a whole nother problem that can kill somebody, that can get somebody raped or anything. So that is something that I understand that y'all, but please think about that. It's not safe to leave a drink unattended. I think we all know that. Another thing is, we've seen bars do way worse. Guns, prostitution, and everything like that. So again, reconsider that, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Ryan Cook, 3rd Ward. Back in August, Chico called me and asked me if I can help him come up with a game plan to deal with his crowd. So what we did is we came up with a standard operating procedure of how we're going to deal with any issue we may arise. It was only a page long. Since then, we've adapted, we've added things to our SOP to kind of handle any issue that may arise. Well, you don't know what you don't know. So every time something new comes up, we add it to the list. And I think that since August, we've been a lot better at managing the crowd and dealing with any issues that may arise, right? So what we do, if we do have an issue, we just call 911, right? So because we don't have the authority to, let's say, trespass somebody from somebody else's parking lot. Because of that, one thing that we've started doing is we started getting more security guys when we know that there's going to be a large crowd, right? So in the event, we have more people in the event that something does happen. The one thing I do ask you is to give us a chance on letting our security TTPs, our SOP to take hold and allow us to do our job. I think that denying this is going to be completely negligible on the crowd control, simply because the issue isn't inside the bar, it's outside the bar, where we don't have the authority. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one, okay. I think it was moved and seconded. Now, any discussion? Alderwoman McGinnis.
Thank you, Your Honor. I am going to come back at the end of discussion and make an amendment on the outdoor service area. The thing before the council is the license in the outdoor service area. The staff recommendation is the outdoor service area only. So I don't want to let folks know, but I will wait to make that amendment. So if you could come back to me. I did want to ask Chief Bladel some questions. You have been involved with the discussion, the meeting with Mr. Hanlon. Thank you.
Your Honor, elected officials, Jeff Bladel, your police chief.
Yes, sir. If you could tell us for a moment, in general situations, what is the police's, where is the line drawn where the establishment deals with the issues and when the police are called, and where should that line be? And where have you seen it with this establishment?
Well, that's kind of a challenging question because it does vary between different establishments. But I say overall, our role as public safety is exactly that, public safety. We want to make sure that every business has an opportunity to succeed within our city. If we have one business that's kind of disrupting the other businesses in the area or the residents, that becomes the issue of public safety. I think in the case of this, we have a fantastic owner. He can bring in a crowd, but that's the issue. The issue is capacity, right? We talk about a 90-person capacity, and we look in this room right here. This is 120. It is smaller than this room in here for city council, but yet we're seeing crowds in the area of 200 people plus. And it's not happening during the day when the restaurant is open. This is the time period of 11 p.m. right around till bar closing, right? And it doesn't take one officer. It doesn't take two officers. It doesn't take three officers. It takes upwards of 11 officers at one point to clear the crowd out of the business. We've worked with Mr. Yoshi. I do believe his heart is in the right place. I do believe he is centered on the business. But those are the issues that we see. When we look at these things, we have to look at them in a systematic sense to where we're looking at other businesses and other things on how it raises to the level. Okay, we have to make sure that, one, if we're rising to the level of specific calls, how can we work with the business to tamp those down? The issues is it's been every weekend that we've been seeing these things. It's been 3 weeks now that they've put in the security plan, right? We still had calls over the weekend, but they weren't as bad as they have been, and I will give them that. They called us and we worked together with that. Okay, but the issue again has always been capacity and the crowd and the late night and how to deal with that.
And how does that impact our police force's capability at that time of night?
Well, Well, I don't have much more than 11 officers working at night, and if we have to go to one spot in your entire city, that's one spot in your entire city to deal with that. And we've also had to incorporate state police and county to help tamp those crowds down.
Your department head was spoken with Mr. Hannon in August, early August, is that correct?
Yes, staff did.
And could you tell me what happened there if you can?
Well, yeah, with that, they gave him a number of recommendations, and I think he follows a lot of the recommendations that are given, but I think the 2 points that he's missing the mark on is how to deal with the crowd. One is the capacity. I don't think he fully recognizes bringing in the amount of crowd. The footprint of that business does not support 200 people. So that is the big piece there. The additional piece is if you're having issues at the bar, a lot of other bars that we've worked with, and we've been up here, a handful of times in the last several years with police calls. And in doing so, in those suggestions, we can tell when bars are jumping on board. They're able to shut down for a while and then bring it back up and make sure that these issues go away, right? We can't fully stop people from going to the bar, but there is an attraction there, and he does do that. And again, you compliment him for his business, right? But when it becomes that level and it becomes that constant to where we continually have to respond and break up calls, fights, the only thing we're missing here with the other establishments that we have are shootings, okay? So we're gonna knock on wood for that. But that's what we're trying to prevent. We're trying to get ahead of this, and that's why this system is in place, to make sure that if we have these issues and/or violations, that we address them ahead of time so we're not coming down to the public safety piece where people are gonna actually get injured and hurt.
Thank you very much. I also asked Attorney Bagby if I could. I had a couple of follow-up questions.
Mallory Bagby, Assistant City Attorney.
Thank you, Attorney Bagby. I did have a question, and I was in the meeting, you were in the meeting, and there was a question, a confusion about what the outdoor service area was in that meeting. So there was some thought that it was the entire footprint of that the bar owns, but it is not. Could you clarify that, please?
Sure. Brian, can you pull up my PowerPoint? In the earlier slide, I think it was the first slide of my presentation this evening, there were two maps. The one on the right was the map that was provided last year with the diagram provided by the owner. The outdoor service area is just the blue area. So if you look at the map on the left, you can see left of the blue and yellow properties is sort of a tan area. That's a volleyball court. Mr. Haddon does also own that. There's no fence separating the two as there should be. That part is not a part of the outdoor service area. That is owned by Mr. Haddon, but it's a separate parcel, and it's not identified in his application either last year or this year. So the outdoor service area would just be the blue area.
Does the city require a fence around an outdoor service area adjacent to a bar?
We should. That way it's clearly designated.
But we don't require it. Is that correct?
I believe we do.
We do not. Under the state law, it just has to be clearly marked.
I got it, clearly marked. Okay.
So it is not clearly marked in person.
I understand. Okay. So the parking lot, which is behind, is not part of the outdoor service area as well, correct? Okay. I think that's all my questions of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Lee.
Thank you very much. First of all, I have a request for staff on these types of things. when this first came on the agenda, before I asked to table it because I needed more information, when I clicked on the item on the agenda, because it said I could, all I found was a repeat of that section of the agenda without any information about why this was being recommended denial. There was no information. It was just the page out of the agenda. And it would also be helpful if, when there's something like this, that we get it at least a day ahead of time, because I've been up here trying to compare it to what we've gotten before. So I'm just requesting that moving forward. I've got a couple of questions. And first of all, if we do vote denial for this part of the license, and Yoshi appeals it, and the appeal takes longer than when he can apply again in April, because it's going on with another bar. What happens if there's an appeal ongoing and there's the license comes up again for renewal? Tom?
The appeal continues.
Okay.
In this case, with outdoor service areas, one of the required components for the state to approve the outdoor service area is that the city council has approved of the outdoor service area. If that component is not there, the state can't grant it. So it is one area where we have a lot of control. Normally, we don't have that much control with a liquor license, as you all know. But in order to get an outdoor service area approved, you have to have the permission of the local authority, which is the city council.
So does that mean that if I'm just trying to understand the legal part.
It essentially means if you guys deny the outdoor service area, the ABD will have to deny the outdoor service area because the local permission isn't there.
Okay. And so it wouldn't come up, it wouldn't take that long through April.
In practical terms, what would be better, and I'm not his attorney, but in practical terms, he'd be better off and he'd probably get an outdoor service area quicker if he just reapplied for one in March and got it on in front of the council with a security plan that everyone is comfortable with. And then the council could approve it at that time and he'd be ready to go for the warmer weather in the spring. But I'm not his counsel.
I understand, but that helps me a great deal. So thank you very much. Another question is, first of all, I have a question about security cameras. I understand that he has a large security system for inside and outside of the bar. Is that correct?
From the information I've received, that is correct.
Okay, and that's what I thought I remembered too. Of the four at the top of the list here, do all of those have security cameras that we know? And I'd like to know how that contributes to being able to address issues that arise.
I can't answer that. I don't know if anybody on staff has looked into that. I will tell you that having security cameras for a bar is a good business practice. Most of them do in town, and most of them are more than happy to share the video with us when we ask.
Okay. Do we ever use that video against them when things like that come up? I haven't been at a bar in decades.
It depends on what the case is, but sure. Okay. I mean, we had a bar a while back that had a customer who shot a firearm, discharged a firearm, and they were saying they weren't their patron, but we could see on their security video that, in fact, they had served that individual. So.
Okay, I understand. That's very helpful. Thank you. I have driven past there though and driven around it, and I do see that that's a relatively small area. And going back to information that was previously provided to us, it said that, you know, agreeing with Chief Bladel, that the primary concern is too many people and too small an area outside. And that seems to be causing the problem. And it is a small area. So I would like to think that this council and a future council would look at the facts and not just have a bias towards an establishment because we have voted something down earlier. So that's what I would like to think anyway. So in this case, I mean, this is a hard one. However, I think I've got my questions answered, and I'm done. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Joshi.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, Alderwoman Lee, for asking a question. I was kind of having that same question regarding the mechanics of what Mr. Haddon could do should the outdoor service area be denied, you know, when Attorney Bagby gave us the information about April of next year. And then, so I was just curious as to when he could come forth again, possibly, and, you know, show the things that he's doing from a safety standpoint. Like I mentioned last week, you know, I wish Mr. Haddon well. I hope he has a very successful business. To me, again, just addressing the outdoor service area and what to do with it, kind of the objective information that I utilized to come to my decision were these. On Wednesday, September 13th, Mr. Haddon, you came to the council and spoke to us before this item was even on the agenda. And I was kind of sitting here going, well, what's Yoshi saying, doing, and had absolutely no clue. Lo and behold, the agenda comes up, the item comes on the agenda next week. You know, didn't really, you know, put two and two together quite yet. But the thing that really got me was the police body cam video from September 16th. So after came where there was a DJ playing music after hours, violating code, in which he did not have a noise variance that evening. And on top of that, I think you claimed that you did have one, and that was not true. And so when it comes to objectively looking at, okay, what's the problem? You know, how do we address it? To me, that means that with those objective data points is where I kind of came up. I'm making a statement. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm making a statement. Sorry, Mr. Haddon, didn't mean to kind of be vague there. And so with that, that's why I'm coming up with my decision this evening. My one last question for our corporate counsel, and I think this gets to the amendment that Alderwoman McGinnis is alluding to. So on the back of the presentation from Attorney Bagby is a recommendation to make a motion to amend by striking the outdoor area. So mechanically, just so if we can't ask questions later as we get going with this, if that such motion is made and then passed, then when it comes to the actual motion on the liquor license, do we then, if we want him to maintain his liquor license yet not have the outdoor service area, what do I say?
So if the motion to amend is made and seconded, you would vote on that. If that's approved, then the mayor would take you back to the main motion, which is to approve the license as amended. So the license without the outdoor service area.
Okay.
So if you want him then to have his license, which is what we're recommending, we would like to work with Mr. Haddon. He is a small business owner. We're very supportive of small business in this community. So you would vote yes on that to give him the license without the outdoor service area.
Thank you. And then just lastly, yeah, I'm supportive of Mr. Haddon keeping his license. I look forward to him and his team working with whomever he needs to, you know, be successful and run a safe business. And so with that, I thank you. I'm done.
Thank you. Alderman Ortiz.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yoshi, could you come up, please?
Yes, sir.
All right. As you know, I'm a small business owner and bar owner myself.
Yes, sir.
Please, first and foremost, from me to you, this isn't a race about you. It is a race about, each week I take hits about my bar and, the so-called problems and that. It's the people that come into our establishments. It's not us. So please, don't take it personally, okay? First and foremost. Well, as it said, yeah, I did go down there. You saw me Saturday night. I've visited every one of these bars because I wanted to go down and see exactly what's going down there, the type of crowd and, everything down there, see if what you're doing at the door, what's going on throughout the whole bar and that. So, that way I don't go by not being there.
Yes, sir.
In there, like I said, you had a full bar. The problem isn't what you're trying to do, but I think even you would know. I went down there at 11 o'clock and I was down there until midnight, okay? I think even from what your biggest problem is, and I'll just be honest with you, is your SOP. You don't have enough security. The security that you had is you had 3 people at the door. You had 2 outside by the walk-in, but from your bathroom to your end of your bar, your front door, I seen 1. Now, you could have others in that, and I'm fine, and I seen you walking through it in that. It's just the type of crowd, and we're not singling anybody out or anything, but I think even and I'm just talking about my sense. I think about 11:30, 11:45, you started to tell that, at least from a bar owner's perspective, things were, like I said, I think you were concerned like what I kind of felt is personal. And you don't have to, like I said, this is just an opinion. Not that anything happened, not that anything was wrong or whatever, but I hope going forward that your SOP for the type of crowd you have will be stronger. Not that it's wrong, but I think it needs to be beefed up because of the crowd you get, okay? I will give you a chance to talk. From 12 o'clock, except do you open at 11 or noon during the day?
Noon on Fridays, Saturdays, 2 p.m. every other day.
Okay. From 2 to 7, 2 to 8 p.m.? Like I said, I have been in there earlier. I don't know. Like I said, I've gone. It is a good family atmosphere. And pool tables and stuff like that. But from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m., it's adult time. It's a time to have fun. And I get that. My suggestion to you is, because of your size, I fight the same struggle. Hawkeye isn't big enough for the crowds when you have live bands or when you have entertainment to accommodate everybody. Please don't be afraid to start turning people away at the door. That's your one chance before they get in to, control your atmosphere and that. And no matter what you're outdoor, whatever happens, mine right now is closed. So it's too cold. I'm not gonna make somebody stand out there and try to serve drinks. So just know that I see what you're trying to do, your passion. You have great passion, and I appreciate that. From bar owners that you go into, some owners don't have even close to the passion you do, and I appreciate that. But please understand, we have to be good neighbors to the people that are around there. And I hope you have a better plan for the rows of cars outside in the streets with the music, the lights, the people standing talking as they go inside the door. But do you have, what's your, goal with your SOP? I mean, can you admit maybe it needs to be a little stronger?
So based on statistics, which this is what we have to do. We can't base it on how people look or what we think they're going to do. We have to base it on statistics. Statistically, we have less incidences than most bars in the area, and actually a much lower incident per capita for the amount of people that we have through my bar. I probably one of the most, if not the most voluminous bar in Davenport. And, like you said, we're growing. And that requires adaptive measures to continue to control our crowd, which we have been preemptive in doing so. As I had mentioned in my binder that I disseminated to the council, our first 20,000 patrons between April 1st of 2022 to approximately August 1st of 2023, we had zero security and we had zero incidences. Between that time, after that time, between August 1st and September 20th, which is where my data is centered around, because that's when the allegations are centered around, we've had one arrestable incident and 30,000 more people within the last 2 months. Conversely, a bar down the street from us, I'll go ahead and say the name, it's Wooden Nickel. They had an incident that resulted in a woman getting stabbed in the face, which resulted in felony charges being pressed against the individual, which are still pending. I have graphic pictures of that individual who was stabbed, and she's actually a good friend of mine. And that has not been made a mention of. I would also ask, and I'm not meaning this in any type of aggressive way, but you had mentioned my security personnel when you visited my bar Saturday night, and you also compared the size of your bar to mine. I would ask you, how many security personnel did you have on Saturday night? Or if you don't want to answer that, that's fine. But
yeah, I have no, like I said, I didn't have any instances.
You didn't have any?
I had, we have 2 people there, like I said, so.
It seems to be I'm more proactive than you are, sir.
All right, well, like I said, I wish you, like I said, I wish you well in going forward. Please understand that, I just hope that we could control the situation so we could keep the number of calls down there. Because ultimately, like I said, your employees, yourself, and your patrons, I hope for the utmost safety of everybody involved. So,
yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Condon.
Yeah, I'll just weigh in with some decision-making process. When I was first elected, brand new to the council, I was a little bit skeptical of how we enforce things like this. I was brand new. I was probably younger and not as far removed from the bar scene and living downtown. I have pretty thick skin, and I wasn't convinced that institutionally we knew what a good time looked like. But I gained an appreciation that our staff and our sworn officers actually do a really great job of understanding what a good time looks like, but also how to make sure that it's still conducive to the overall public safety. And I've been able to observe and be a party to a lot of conversations where the police are working, again, constructively with the businesses. It's not subjective. It's not arbitrary. So, I mean, we've just displayed in that PowerPoint there that we do have measurables to consider. We have established systems to put in force restrictions. As our attorney noted, we're choosing the least restrictive path as we look to affect some change here. There's precedent for enforcement throughout the city. This is something we've done in multiple areas when the situation arose. And there's been a good, healthy conversation, communication by our sworn officers, our staff, and our elected officials. So again, I feel like as much as you can make this a standard operating procedure, we're doing this with guardrails in place that make sure that we're being objective. And saving grace in all of this, again, is it's a victim of your own success. We've got a great, thriving business in the city of Davenport, and unfortunately, we're going to have to potentially put some restrictions on it, but we're doing it right as we come into the cold season. And there's an opportunity to get right back on the horse again. And so I don't doubt anything that he's laying before us, and I think we'll be his biggest cheerleader to make this constructive for everybody, and again, allow him to have all the success without compromising public safety. So thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you.
No. All right, anybody else before I go back to Alderwoman McGinnis? Alderwoman McGinnis.
Thank you, Your Honor. If everybody has spoken, so if you could, and Tom, you might need to help me through this, but I would make a motion to amend the application for the Class C liquor license for Yoshi's Bar and Filipino Canteen LLC to strike approval of the outdoor service area.
Okay, there's a motion and second. Any discussion on the amendment? Okay, Brian, please call roll on the amendment.
Your Honor, before I call the roll, I do not believe there was a second, a first and a second.
There was a second. Sure.
No, for the earlier. Oh, is this, okay, perfect. I'm sorry, already.
Clarification.
I'm good.
Oh, needs clarification.
I'm sorry.
Point of clarification.
Okay, hold on, folks. So if someone would like to discuss the amendment, buzz in and I will call on you. We're not going to have 3 people yelling at me. Alderman Kelly.
I need clarification for me, please.
On the amendment?
Yes.
Ms. McGinnis, would you please read your amendment again?
Absolutely. What I'm doing with the amendment, I'll read it, is striking approval of the outdoor service area only. That's what this amendment is about. So my motion is to amend the application for the Class C liquor license for Yoshi's Bar and Filipino Canteen LLC to strike approval, only strike approval of the outdoor service area.
Okay. All right, seeing no one else, Brian, please call the roll. Okay, folks. Alderwoman Lee.
Do we need to have a time period on this?
No, I think I mentioned earlier that I believe if Mr. Hedden works with the city to solve this mutual problem that we have and get some good plans in place, that I would welcome him to come back in early March and ask for an outdoor service area at that time.
I understand. Thank you.
All right, Brian, please call the roll. No more discussion.
Condon?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Ortez?
Yes.
Kelly?
No.
Jobson?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Grip?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
And Dickman?
Yes.
8 yeses and 1 no, Your Honor.
Very good. The amendment's approved. Now we'll go back to the original with the amendment. Brian, please call the roll.
Kelly?
No.
Dunn?
Yes.
Jobson?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Ortez?
Yes.
Grip?
Yes.
Condon?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
And Dickman?
Yes.
8 yeses and
Very
1
good.
no, Your Honor.
Motion passes. Next area is motion for approval of all items on the consent. Brian, please call, motion and a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Brian, please call the roll for all items on consent. All items on consent. Brian, please call the roll.
Dunn?
Yes.
Ortez?
Ladies and gentlemen, please. We're done with this issue. We're on to consent. Thank you. Brian, please call. I apologize.
I did Dunn. He said yes. Ortez?
Yes.
Jobson?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Dickman?
Yes.
Condon?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
And Grip?
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Very good. Consent agenda is approved. The next area is other ordinances, resolutions, or motions. There are none for tonight. The next issue is there any public business? Sir, if you burst out again and disturb, I'll ask you to leave. Thank you. Okay, sir, please, you have to leave now. You have to leave now. I'll pause. I'll just wait for, ma'am, we'll just wait till the crowd clears and then we'll start. Okay, thank you, ma'am, please. 5 minutes. Anything other than what was on the agenda? Public or business, anything other than what was on the agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah, please, 5 minutes. Thank you.
Katie Stewart, Board 8. You know, I was watching the news today with Henry Dinkins, with Breasia Trail that was murdered. He was sentenced to 2 years, not 2 years, life, 2 counts of life with not parole. We finally got justice for Breasia. Long process. Made me kind of have hope that maybe we can finally have justice for 324 Main. 136 days though. And I have this cup right here that was made. I don't know if you guys ever seen it here. It's of the Davenport with three hearts. For Brandon, Colvin, Ryan, Hitchcock, Daniel Pren, may they continue to rest in peace. We take licenses away from bars when they have a slap. I mean, I know some, small business owners, they would understand with taking things away or, for alcohol and stuff. People with DUIs get their license taken away when they're drinking and driving, all the way up to, serving time if, the problem arises and so forth and so on. So if we can do all that, then why is a landlord able to still be able to conduct business and take money for places that are under code or collapse? All his buildings are under code. 2 others were condemned after 324, and yet he's, living a good life. If he's in his house or whatever the deal is, he's free. He's still raking in the money from these places that he's taking from that people may still have not gotten their security deposits and all that back from 324 Main. So why are we still standing that he can still do this? We're taking away licenses and stuff for outdoors because alcohol, of the noise and the complaints and the public safety, but where was the public safety for 324? We have a building that gave warning after warning after warning for years and years and years, emails to the city, left and right, a vacate that the city did not enforce in 2023 again, and we still had that happen. Unfortunately, it saddens me and sickens me that it took a building collapse to really open the door to all the stuff that's going wrong. And I can only hope that we can come to terms and be able to work together. Everybody wants to heal. I'm not perfect. I may have said some things that I don't like that I said out of anger or, whatever else. But our common goal is we want justice for 324. We want to see how, it's just besides myself. If you can do all that, he should not be able to rank money in from any tenant. And I know people that are living in his places right now that wish that too. And they're not up to code. So where's the difference? Why is, landlords able to do that? Some of these places, the landlords don't even live in Davenport. These people live states away. How can they really know what's going on in their buildings? Walt lives in this area and stuff, so he should have been able to deal with that. But some of these places don't even have that. They have to call 800 number or, it's frustrating. Our housing situation in Davenport is horrible. Black mold in places. And you have other places of same issue, but let's not do this for Davenport anymore. This is my home. I've been here all my life. And I'm going to continue to fight for my home. And would love for us all to be able to work together and make it a safer place, but we have to come to a common ground. And we want to see justice and accountability. 136 days, he's still making money. He still owns that land. He could sell that and make money off of it. And I think that needs to be a memorial. Can we start talking to the process of how we can get that land from him and purchase it as a community so we can make it what it should be?
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Malik Salisbury. Sorry, almost forgot which ward I was from. Fourth ward. I just wanted to comment that yes, while the tragic, horrific acts of terrorism inflicted on innocent Israeli civilians are terrible, we must also acknowledge the horrific acts of terrorism inflicted on innocent Palestinian civilians as well. So just wanted to do a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Gary Eklund. I am in a phase in my life where I would rather be doing art and gardening and not politics and not white supremacist crap. But I'm going to mention briefly, I mentioned last week, I'm working on a book from Save the Monarchs, from caterpillar to chrysalis to butterfly in 18 days. And this photograph is for sale. You can buy it on coffee cups, our t-shirts, our bath towels, our shower curtains. It looks really neat as a shower curtain. And actually, I was pleased to find out, if you Google the words, I think I wanna, with a T, be something else, I think I wanna be something else, you can find this work of art, and if you wanted to buy it, you could. The recognition of Indigenous Peoples Day, or however I may be saying that wrong, got me thinking a lot. And as a direct descendant of the Trail of Tears from the Indian Removal Act of 1830, forcing all of us to go west of the Mississippi, I believe the intentional destruction of my food to be not just a crime under Davenport law, under Iowa law, under US law, but also to be a war crime and literally an act of genocide. I believe the city's actions to be genocidal in nature. They didn't murder me, but they destroyed my food as an intentional way to cause hunger and suffering and homelessness and to drive me from my home. And I view that as an illegal form of warfare. And I don't understand the hatred that came and presented itself to me in 2021 in the form of the city's neighborhood department. I don't understand why the city's neighborhood department would be willing to engage in stalking and harassment and vandalism intended to cause physical harm, emotional harm, financial harm. I believe that the city's conduct has literally shortened my life. I believe that I will live less long for the last 3 years. I'm in 2.5 years of stalking and harassment. And it was openly stated to me that I'm an inferior person, that I don't have the same rights as the mayor or the city administrator or the city's legal counsel or the human resources director. I was told that flowers and food in my yard, grapevines and peach trees, they would be legal in the mayor's yard because the mayor is a higher class citizen in a higher class neighborhood. And that's an exact quote, and I can tell you who it was told. And I have witnesses, I have photographs, I have documents. I am not the only one who has heard this person talking this way. This person worked as a building inspector. He said he was a landlord. He always said, I live on a 3.5 acre country estate out in the county. And at one point, he used to laugh. He would say to me, if anybody came to my house and did to me what I'm doing to you, I'd call the police and they'd get prosecuted and they'd go to prison. This man knew that what he was doing to me was so awful that if someone did it to him, they'd go to prison. And he laughed about it. This is a work of art too. The artwork itself is not mine, but the photograph is. This is on sale right now. It's called Lamp Number One, Enemy of the City. On the day I bought this at an estate sale from a Native American art collector, I also bought a giant pot, and it weighed over 100 pounds. It was beautiful. I found it uplifting. It was religiously significant. It was very important to me. It was on display in my yard. And in a white supremacist hate crime under color of authority, city staff came to my house. I don't know why this man, in my opinion, the head of our legal department, to me, has to have some kind of a passionate hatred for me as an individual that I don't understand.
Point of order, Your Honor. He's referencing an individual now. He's not talking just about staff.
I got it.
Okay,
Mr.
I
Eckler, you know the rules.
apologize.
Address this as a body.
I apologize for referencing an individual, but I don't understand the hatred directed at the black children in my neighborhood, at me. I don't understand how. I brought this. These are, there's a total of 4 surviving red carnations. And I mentioned this before. This is just the tiniest part of what they destroyed. But I bought all of these flowers and I planted them. They were 10 months old and they destroyed them last year.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We'll pause, sir, and let him collect his. Thank you. Next, please.
Ron Swainer, Davenport, Rock Island. Well, we had a primary.
So, sir, we're not going to discuss campaign
No,
stuff.
no. I just said we had a primary. That's all I'm saying
Just
about it.
giving you a heads
sir.
up.
I appreciate that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Now, on to this. We welcome your comments. Multiple police officers here, areas roped off, staff only, little intimidating. Really feel welcome now when you come to city council. That's my opinion, but my opinion, and $5 will buy you a cup of coffee if you're lucky at Starbucks. But anyway, we have addressed many issues and more to come. 324 Main has been the worst disaster in the city's history. Litigation, suits, they talk about justice. I learned 12 years ago there is no justice. Justice is just a word. That's all it is. It has many meanings. True justice is not a part of this country anymore. People get away with a lot of things. 5 years probation for killing your kid. How is that justice? What justice is, the 3 people over here gotten? Nothing yet because things are thrown out, paperwork, this, that. Now we have, other things happening that interrupts the cycle. But you know what? No matter how much you push, how much you shove, or what you do, you're responsible. You gave the direction of the city these past few years, several of you. I'm a bit heartbroken. I've watched my city these past few weeks, accusations, lawsuits. Kind of breaks your heart. I've fought for 11 years talking for this council. My heart is broken because I see the city more and more and more broken. Where do I go from here? I don't know. But you won. You broke this citizen. Who comes before you to try and make this place a better place? That's how I was raised. Politeness, manners. When my kids would go out, oh, kids got manners. That's right, I taught him manners. But what do we do now? It's a big waiting game like I played 12 years ago. but I don't think these three should have to wait. Someone should tell us something of what's going on. I think it's been long enough. I don't care if there's a soup penny. Is someone going to pay for this? Is there going to be changes? I haven't heard any. I haven't heard any changes to the city code in regards to inspections. None. Where they at? How are you going to make Davenport a safer place? You want visitors to come in, you want us to speak, but this hostile environment, we have to come down to speak now. If someone gets emotional and says something, you're out, you're trespass. That makes you feel real good about your city, you know? You may have broke me, but I'm still here. I'll still speak. I'll still get the death stares. I'll get the disgusting looks. I'll get the turned heads. I don't care. You may have broke me, but I ain't leaving. I'm still here. So I think changes need to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Mike Gustus, 7th Ward, President, NAACP. I want to talk about the NAACP official position on the use of the N-word. First, I want to say that the NAACP believes and stands with the gentleman from the 5th Ward. One of the reasons that this N-word has bothered me over the last few weeks, and that you've seen much more of me in these last few weeks, is because it keeps me up. It reminds me of where I come from. But let me just talk to you about the N-word. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines the N-word as usually offensive to a black person, member of a socially disadvantaged class of persons. The NAACP issued a resolution back in 2014 which states, whereas the N-word has been established to be derogatory, disgrading, dehumanizing, and is one of the most offensive words in history. I know, because I lived it in Alabama, 65. I seen my daddy mistreated, called the N-word. I've been called the N-word, been put out of school. This is an opportunity for leadership. This is an opportunity for City Hall to take a moment to take a look at our workforce, because it doesn't look like Davenport. I've had conversations with the senior staff about how do we get to that point where we get the staff of the City Hall to look representative of Davenport. And I'm talking about black people in City Hall. We need to make an effort to hire more people down here. I hear something about a civil service exam. I don't believe that to be the true case. I don't believe that. We've got a civil rights office over here where the director is the lowest paid individual in this here City Hall. Excluded from city staff meetings. How does that add up? How do you square that? The only office in here that doesn't have any, what I call force protection, because when you come in, on the left and right, there's plenty of plexiglass to protect that staff, and every other office is protected by card access. You can't get to them. But civil rights doesn't have any. We've asked for a budget increase for the last 3 years and get blown away. We don't get any attention. Gets nothing. But yet the Davenport Civil Rights Office could be a big help in educating not only this body, the city, with what they have a charter to do, could educate about the N-word. I'm fed up with it. I really am. I've tried the back rooms. I've been in meetings. I don't make $150,000 a year. I volunteer my time, and I'm fed up. It's time to do the right thing about the Civil Rights Office. It's time to fund them at the proper funding amount so that they can do what they need to do in order to accomplish the mission. Help me, City Council. I need your help. Let's do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
LaShawna Dixon, Fifth Ward. This is one thing positive that happened on Sunday that nobody talked about, but I had the honor of speaking at Quad City Interfaith, where there was some city council members and public servants that were able to go. And what they spoke about was the housing conditions in Davenport, Iowa. I do have flyers here. They are having an event on October 24th. That's on the Tuesday at Zion Lutheran Church in Davenport, Iowa. They want to talk, the topic of discussion is going to be, it's a town hall for housing justice. There is a housing crisis in the Quad Cities. At the town hall, we will lay out the facts and highlight the stories of the people impacted in the aftermath of collapse of 324 Main Street, Davenport. We will seek accountability, action from landlords, city, and federal leaders. That's at 5:30, so if anybody wants one of these, let me know. And I was able to speak at that event on Sunday. That was lovely, and I wish I would have seen more of you there. Yeah, it was a great night, great music and everything like that. Another thing that I do find quite interesting is everybody has a statement today, it seems like. And after I raised hell in here last week, where I just mentioned in the newspaper that something was said, and now everybody today wants to make a statement. How did we get this far? How do we get this far? There's already lawsuits, people suing people, all that other stuff. So whoever the leader is needs to start leading. If there was a solid leader, then we wouldn't be here. This stuff is being blasted all over TV every day. Every time we turn on the news, it's being blasted. So we need leaders in this building, not followers. Not followers. We need people to speak up and just be loud until something gets done. And I think we proved that. We want change here in Davenport. We proved that. So I wish you all well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Diane Salmon, 8th Ward. 136 days ago, we had a building collapse. It doesn't matter whether it was partial or complete. It killed 3 innocent men. 1 woman lost a portion of her leg. Countless people lost everything they owned, including their place of residence. One slumlord is still out there living it up as if nothing ever happened. The people who chose not to do their jobs correctly and it contributed to all of it, just as I have mentioned, are still working in their overpaid positions. There are 11 lawsuits against our city. Seven council members and another person have had unacceptable behavior that has negatively impacted multiple people and in some cases our whole city, and yet nothing has been done about it. This is not the game of life where you take chances and hope it works out well for you. People have suffered and died, and people are still suffering. Apparently, some of you think this is a game or possibly that it's funny that we show up here every week sharing the same things, only in a different way, hoping something will reach you and wake you up. Well, it's not funny. It's quite pathetic, to be honest. I am so embarrassed to tell people I live in this city because of the corruption, the lack of compassion for others, and the way people can be discarded if they don't fit your agenda, or they can be bought if they do. We have people out there dealing drugs, committing crimes, and acting a fool, and they go to jail for it, and that's awesome. But what about the ones who had something to do with the Davenport? Not a freaking thing. I guess as long as your crime can be bought and paid for, you can get off scot-free. But let me tell you, it only appears that way for the moment, because justice will be served, because we the people will keep on demanding it. We will keep on showing up and speaking up until it is. We may be restricted on what we can and cannot say in here, but once we walk out of this place, let me tell you what, we have been using our voices and they are being heard loud and clear. As someone who was born and raised here, it really saddens me to see our city's name in the news for the preventable building collapse, slumlords, crime, and bed bug infestations. When are we going to see that there is something good going on or great going on in our city again? We the people are sick of our city being so dysfunctional, unsafe. We are sick of doublespeak and empty promises, and we're going to do something about it on November 7th at the polls. We will be voting for those that encourage us to speak up and share what we are concerned about. Thanks, Maria. Sorry, I forgot no names. We the people are sick of it altogether. We will be voting for those that encourage us to speak and share what we are concerned about. We will be voting for those who don't try to bully us into being silent by threatening to kick us out or trespass us because we have opposing views. We will be voting for those who will be completely transparent, honest, and accountable. When you chose to run for those positions, you knew you would have to take the good with the bad. You can't let only those who shower accolades upon you be the only ones who can say names, have extra time, and speak freely on anything they want to. It doesn't work that way. We all have the right to be treated equally. Article 7 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states, all are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection under the law. It is not fair that all of you can say whatever you want to, and you can accept the praises from people and be able to speak what you think or feel, but we can't say a word about it. According to the First Amendment, we still have the right to free speech because, after all, this is still America, land of the free and home of the brave.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, I'm Loxie Hopkins, and I live in the 6th Ward. I have been an activist in this community for 30-some years. I love Davenport. I have been one of the biggest cheerleaders for Davenport and for the schools in Davenport. I've always believed that we could sit down, no matter what the problem was, that if we sat down together, that we could get past our differences and solve the problems. I wasn't even going to talk tonight. I came down here to let Alderman Kelly know that I was here and cared about him and that I supported the NAACP. But I looked around this room and I am shocked. When did we get this kind of stuff? I can't come up and talk to my alderman after the meeting. The staff is roped off in a separate area. We're the city of Davenport. We're all in this together. We shouldn't ever be roped off from each other. We should always be in communication with each other. I can't believe that if this were the Chamber of Commerce sitting out here, that these ropes would be here and that this division would be here. Holy cow, I've gone to church with some of you. My grandsons dated your daughter. You know, I went out of police right along with you. I know all of you. I've respected you, but I don't know what's happened to this city. But there has got to be some changes, and it needs to start with each one of us. And I hope we can sit down together and get past this, because what is happening here is just unbelievable to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, anything else? Very good. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion is second. All in favor? We're adjourned. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.